back. It's good to have you along. This is a ride that's departing on a recent weekend from BP North at Dairy Flat, which is just off to the side of State Highway 1 heading north. Now, this was a morning where it was supposed to be pouring with rain, but it didn't actually turn out that way, at least for the beginning of the ride. And consequently, we had a decent number of riders turn up. There's about 20 bikes here, including 3 or 4 pillions on the back. Now, this is probably a little bit of an extended sequence because I do enjoy the startup moments of a big ride like this, and I do like to enjoy hearing all of the bikes just kick in as we move out. So for that reason, I'm going to just be quiet for a little bit and let the bikes talk for themselves. So that's our little group heading out of the BP Service Centre on State Highway 1, and we're heading north. Now, our typical way we travel is we seldom go directly via the motorway. We're going to cut across through Dairy Flat, Kaukopakapa way across and get onto State Highway 16 and head north that way up towards Wellsford. And that's where we are now, heading up the hill towards the ridge overlooking Wellsford on State Highway 16, which is not the greatest of roads at the best of times. It was pretty slippery and greasy. We didn't lose anybody because we were riding, for the conditions, but it was starting to get a little bit wet. And as we come up on the ridge here, it's very easy to see north and south. North is up to the left, south is to the right. We're travelling to the north. And up ahead there's a lot of rain happening now. I had the good sense, maybe the foresight, to put on some wet weather pants at the service station before we left. A few others didn't quite have that, or a bit more confident of the weather, let's say. But with the ability to look out both left and right and see rain whichever way you looked, including right upon us where we were riding, it became clear that there would need to be a stop made so that people could put on wet weather gear if they happened to be carrying it with them. And many people did have wet weather gear with them. It just turns out that I was one of the more pessimistic of the crew who put on the wet weather gear before we went out on the road, and I didn't regret it one tiny bit because I remained fully dry. And after the stop I put on a jacket as well, which also kept me even drier for the remainder of the ride. And I guess this comes to the point of, carrying with you or wearing the appropriate gear for the conditions. It can be pretty damn miserable sometimes riding in the rain, but it's even more so if you're riding in the rain and you're actually getting wet, because when you get wet on a bike, you're going to get cold. So if you can take steps to keep yourself water protected, so that it doesn't manage to penetrate through to your feet, your hands, all of that stuff, then you're going to be having a much better time riding the bike, and you'll be able to be more focused on just keeping safe on the road than worrying about how wet or how cold you might be. Anyway, as we're coming around the top of the ridge here, we are getting closer to the lookout point. At this point, we didn't know in advance that's where we were going to stop. We would typically stop at Wellsford to regroup, but as we're coming up over the hill here, we can indicators start coming on, and we can see that we're pulling off to the side of the road. Now, initially we weren't too sure, was it just a typical regroup? We sometimes do that to let the riders that have fallen back a little ways catch up. So mostly we just leave engines running, ready to go again when the rest of the riders catch up to the main group. But it soon became clear that we were actually stopping for a little bit more than that. People were getting off the bikes, and the road captain and a couple of other officers were walking down the line letting us know, listen guys, we're just going to stop, and those that have got weather gear have got a chance now to put something on to stay dry, because we've got about nearly another 40 minutes at 1 hour of riding to do, and the rain was certainly looking to get a bit heavier from this point. And I guess the point that's being made here is that even on a big ride, or big-ish ride, 20 odd bikes, there's no reason for the ride not to be run in such a way that everybody can be comfortable as possible throughout the ride, even in kind of indifferent conditions where there's rain happening and all. Look after everybody else, and the ride looks after itself. Anyway, that's about where I'm going to wrap it up for now. So until next week, see you then. In the meantime, ride safe, have fun, take care out there.